Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome in. Hello, Daisy. How are you, Princess? Hello, Kaylee. Isn't it weird seeing me without my headphones? I feel like there's something missing, and it's my headphones, but that's okay. How are you? Happy Saturday morning. Happy Saturday morning. Hello, Nikki. Mm-mm-mm. I have my coffee. I have my chat. Hello. Yeah, it's the quack pack. It's because I'm the mama duck and they're my baby ducks. You're my baby duck. And we have ducks on parade. All right, so we're going to just jump right into it while people are coming in. But this is my Saturday morning series of just good morning, everybody. This is just my Saturday morning series of just sitting down and getting to talk to you without actually playing a video game and actually just, really getting to been, oh, how fun. So this is my Saturday morning. Thank you, Mag. Thank you for my subscription. I appreciate that. I don't get my little sound alerts, but I do get to watch. Um, you know what? Here's the thing is I'm not going to make it super loud. I've watched other streamers play I've watched other streamers and the amount of noise that comes out of their streams, I personally think it's distracting. So I'm going to keep mine probably a little bit more minimalistic. Vex Nessum, thank you so much for my bits. Hello, Mag. So I'm probably going to keep mine a little bit more minimalistic. And I don't like, oh, thank you. It's Britt. And here's the thing is, and also too, if you're new over here, Twitch does have, is it glitchy for anybody? Can we do a little glitch test? Is anybody else glitching? Do we have anybody else glitching? It's fine. No, you're good. Okay. So anyway, I really do find it really distracting. So I'm going to keep mine very minimalistic. And Twitch has ads. That's the thing. That's the thing that for Twitch is their ads. So you'll be watching and also Twitch will put an ad in. Now, if you don't want ads, there's two ways to deal with that. There's really just one way to deal with it, and that's to subscribe. But if you don't want to pay for a subscription, you can use your Amazon Prime to subscribe. And so if you want to do that, you can do that and you get rid of the ads that are running, and your subscription runs through your Amazon Prime. So I'm just putting that out there because I've had some people come on here and they're very offended by the ads, but that's the Twitch thing. So they are much more subscription based instead of anything else. So anyway, that is that little piece of business. And good morning. Good morning. We have an incoming hype train. Yay! We just got a new, it looks like we just got a new subscriber. Yes! Super easy way to do it. Now, the only thing with the Amazon Prime is, that I believe you have to just renew it every month. So if you want to renew it, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. So anyway, it's Saturday morning. This is Coffee with Lonni, and this is just my really super easy, mellow way to just kind of hang out with my community. Now, when I was thinking about it, Sweet Purple, thank you for my bits. I appreciate you. So when I was thinking about it, everybody, and I was thinking like, well, Lonni, why don't you just, do TikTok and Twitch? And the reason is, and I do want to let you know the reasoning behind why we're coming over here to Twitch, which I can actually say the word Twitch, is because I have much more freedom of I have much more freedom of speech on Twitch. I can say things here that I cannot say on TikTok that might get hit up for a community violation. They're much more censored than they are here on Twitch. But that doesn't mean that we can talk about just any subject, but it does give me the freedom to talk a little bit more openly with you than having to be careful about the words that I choose if I'm on TikTok also. So that's the reasoning behind me coming in and doing it here on Twitch. So hopefully you understand that. Oh my goodness, we just got an anonymous donor of 5 subs, everybody. So Carrie Jane, you got a sub. Fonty got a sub. Sydney, Ella Not Pow, All Not Pow got one, and Stardust Mar just got free subscriptions to my channel. Thank you so much to the anonymous gift donor, whoever you are. I love you dearly, like that. And thank you. What an amazing way to start off. And I absolutely love you. And you know what? And I say it all the time, and I'm going to say it again, that I have the most amazing community ever that any content creator has ever had. And I am the most blessed person on this universe. So anyway, let's jump right into it. Now, I know that when we are, when I'm streaming, I'm very much like no trauma dumping, no trauma dumping, no trauma dumping. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I love your username and hello. I'm always like no trauma dumping, but on our Saturday mornings, I'm going to be much more freer with what we talk about. Okay. This is a place for us to come together and talk about things in life that are affecting us. Now, that doesn't mean that I want this to be a huge trauma dumping hour and a half or however long we're going to be on here. But this is a place where we can really absolutely talk about life, real life. And today, the subject that I picked is that, hello, Todd, is I want to talk about how I personally deal with the loss of a loved one, because today marks South. Okay, everybody who's on here, I hope you all know that South has not been feeling well. So can we please send South some love? South has been an amazing supporter of our community for a very long time. So let's send South some love and some healing vibes, because South just has not been feeling very well. So anyway, getting back to the subject, is today marks the 8-year anniversary of my mother passing away. And it is it's a hard time for me. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. It fucking sucks. You know, I miss my mom. My mom was my best friend. And so instead of me wallowing in my sadness, I decided to dedicate this live to her and just basically share with you how I deal with the loss of not only my mom, but my dad and my sister. And so my entire family is gone. And it makes me face one of the biggest fears that I had as a child, and that was being alone. And so the universe decided to give me the exact thing that I was the most scared of. And it's just basically how I overcome that diversity. And Kaylee says, can you tell us your favorite memory of your mom? Oh my God, there's just so many. My mom was just a complete fucking badass. I'm going to tell you right now, the tenacity that you all see in me I got from my mother. You know, my mom's the one where when my sister, it was in the early 70s, and my sister got into a fight with the boy across the street. All right. I think this is probably one of my favorite ones. I mean, there's just so many, but here's just one of many. My sister got into a fight with the boy across the street because my sister fought everybody. My sister was the complete badass. But she got in a fight with the boy across the street, and he threw paint on her because he was painting the fence at the time. They got into a fight, so he picked up this gallon of paint and threw it on my sister. So my sister comes home covered in paint. So my mom proceeds to put my sister in the bathroom and fucking marched her way across the street and tried to fight the dad. And that's the kind of tenacity that I saw in my mom, the strength of, you don't wait for your husband to get home to take care of shit. My mom took care of shit on her own. And that's, I think, the thing that I'm the most proud of getting 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 from my mom is that tenacity of I don't wait for somebody to come and give that to me. I give it to myself. And it is just, oh, we got a hype chest. Hold on, everybody. I got to open my hype chest. And we got a new little kitty cat. Is that a kitty cat with earphones? Oh, we got a new emote. I love it. Yeah. So that's one of the things that that's one of the things that that's one of the many things that I am just super proud of that I got from my mom. And here's one of the things, and I'm going to start off, and then Haley, I'm going to address your comment because I saw it right there. And feel free to leave questions and feel free to leave questions, and please feel free to share your own story, because here again, this is an opportunity for us to talk. You're not going to just listen to me, but you're going to talk about your life too, because this is the stuff that we keep off lives. Because as far as I'm concerned, anybody who's on here wants to hear this. If you're on a random live and people are talking about losing their loved ones, that can be very triggering, and that's not really what they're signing up for. So I do want you to all know that you have the freedom to share your story here also, because this is a healing moment, not only for me, but I really want it to be a healing moment for you also. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying is, oh my gosh, now I lost my train of thought. I had so many different trains of thoughts going that I cannot. Oh, so one of the things that I wanted to tell you is, oh, you're very welcome, honey. You're very welcome, Mags. This is all in the when I started my platform, this is what I envisioned, and it's just my vision coming true. So anyway, one of the things that I want to share with you that I hope will help you and how it helps me is every time I realize how much I'm like my mother, it makes my mom feel alive. Because my mom's not dead as long as she's alive in my heart, in my mind, and my stories. All right? It's because her physical body's not here, her spirit still is. Does that make any sense to you? Does that, Vane, how are you? Does that make any sense? I mean, am I correlating that together properly for you? Because it's like I constantly talk about her, and she's constantly in my mind. I'm constantly like tapping back on those memories if I have a question going forward. And so to me, just because her physical presence is not here doesn't mean my mom's gone. If I never thought about her, if I didn't tap into her, if I didn't have the mannerisms of her, then yeah, I would probably say my mother was gone. But she's not. And that's the same thing with my dad. And that's the same thing with my sister. A lot of who I am today is because of the family that I had and how I was, yeah, as often as possible. And Peach, you have to talk to them about them as possible. I think, I personally think once once they're gone from your mind and your heart, then yeah, then they're truly gone. I mean, I don't speak about my grandmother as much as I used to, but I mean, she still lives in my heart. I mean, I spent so much time with my grandmother. Now, Haley did mention that you losing a parent at a very young age. My niece and nephew lost my sister when they were very young, like 18, and my nephew was in middle school. So I would, I don't like speaking about things that I don't have like direct knowledge with, but I can, the only thing I would say is like, I don't know. It's hard for me to talk about things like that because I did have my mom until I was 50. And so I would say just, kind of like the same thing I do is I would just go forward and, just, when you have accomplishments, just, talk to your mom. I talk to my parents I talk to my family all the time. You know, I will stand in the shower and openly talk to my family. And if you are ever like having this moment where you want to have a conversation with your family that are not here, and just get in your car and drive, talk there, talk in the shower. And Haley says, I'm 22 now and I still feel like I didn't get enough time or life experience. I don't know how to explain it. Haley, I'm going to tell you this, and this is not, I'm not trying to take your pain away. And I'm not trying to say that I'm not trying to take the validity of your feelings away. But no matter how old you are, you never feel like you've had enough time. All right. And I'm going to give you a story behind that because I'm 60 years old and I still have those exact same feelings. Okay. I mean, I still to this day get fucking pissed to think that my mom passed away at 82 when I see people that are in their 90s. You know, I don't think that the amount of time correlates with your loss. I mean, with loss. I mean, that's just how it is. Because I'll give you a story because I always do like to share stories along with what I'm saying. And I was in Kohl's the other day. I'm losing my mom, but slowly. And that is a very hard road to be on. And I'm sorry about that. Watching people you love fade away is very hard. Leaf says same, but with my dad. Yep, exactly the same, Leaf. And I'm going to address that in just a minute, but I do want to tell you this story. So, I once saw Andrew Garfield say, I hope this grief stays with me because it's all the unexpressed love that I didn't get to tell her. And that stuck with me a lot. That's a beautiful statement. And I understand like the grief, but I still think you can take that hurt and soften it up a little bit. Because if the only thing that I focused on was how much I missed my family, it would be overwhelming and I would never get out of bed. So I really, really, really try to take that grief and turn that into something more positive because I know my family would hate to see me suffering. You know what that? There's been many a times that I've had to pull myself out of a shitstorm and tell myself my sister, my mom, my dad would be fucking furious with me if they knew that I took this moment and I took this opportunity and spent time mourning them instead of living my life. Because if the tables were turned and I were gone and my sister were alive, I would want my sister, my mom, and my dad to be happy. So I kind of put myself in their position. So yes, grief is that love that you never got to tell them, but you can't let that grief be overwhelming because that will be a burden so heavy to bear. I don't know how you would bear it. So anyway, so getting back to the story of no matter how old you are when you lose somebody you love, I was at Kohl's the other day and I was trying to return something at Amazon. And there was this cute little lady in front of me. You know, she was like 80 something, 90 something years old. And I was sitting there and she just turns around, she starts talking to me and she's like, I have to return this package to Amazon, but it's just not working. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she goes on about how she called Amazon and she, complained to customer service and she's supposed to do this and she's supposed to do that. And I'm like, yeah. And then she looks at me, she's like, well, she goes, it was really nice talking to you. I'm going to go find my sister. And okay, I'm going to tell you this and please do not judge me, but I have never wanted to hit an old lady more in my life. The first gut instinct I had was to punch her in the throat. And do you want to know why? It's because she was in her fucking 80s and her sister was still alive. My sister's been gone for almost 20 years. And I got so mad. I got so mad that that lady got to have her sister in her 80s and I didn't. And I had to absolutely stop myself and be like, this is not her fault. All right? This is not her fault that her sister's not dead. You know, you can't do this. You can't go around punching people because their family is alive. So I get it. I get how we wish we had more time, and it's unfair watching other people have more time. But time is something that we have no control over. So what we do have control over is how we love the people we have in our lives now and how we remember the people that we lost. So just so you know, everybody, I don't oftentimes try to hit people, but sometimes it's like that's how I can share my story and that's how I can tell you about my emotions. So if you it's just another way of dealing with it. You know, Kaylee says, Lonnie, say my brother is passed and I see everyone having siblings and not me and it sucks. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? My sister passed before my parents. And so not only did I, you know, my sister was gone. Ah, Peach, thank you, honey. You know, my sister was gone, but I had to deal with my parents passing all on my own. And me and my sister had plans together. You know, we were going to buy an RV. We were going to pack it full of pit bulls and chihuahuas, and we were going to travel the country together. And we didn't get to do that, and it fucking sucks. And Cool Girl says, you lost your grandparents. Yeah, it's hard. And Mag says, totally understandable and relatable. Grief comes with being angry towards the world and others who still have their family. And you know what's hard? Is when you see somebody not appreciating their family and the only thing you wish is that you had them. And so it's just weird. It's like grief comes in so many different ways. You know, I've heard people like spatting with their siblings over the most minute things, or saying like, you know, I don't understand my mom, so I'm not going to talk to her. I mean, I understand no contact. There are definitely some situations there where family members are the most toxic people in your life, and you do need to go no contact. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who just don't have the time to pick up the phone to communicate with their family because they don't want to. You know, that's what irritates me. Cujo says, I lost my dad in my early 20s. It was very hard as we didn't have the best relationship growing up. And the last few years of life, we got close. And you know what? And sometimes I think that that's a gift from the universe that we don't understand. You know, my sister led a very difficult life and we didn't have contact with her for many years. But then my sister came back, got well, and then passed away. So, you know, it's like it's almost like it's like a double-edged sword, you know. Having that happen, it's like you get a moment of knowing of what it could have been like, and then you get it taken away. And again, two ways of looking at that. You can be sad that you saw it and then you lost it, or you can just appreciate the fact that you had it at all. So I choose to look at it as I'm just thankful to have it, because I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have had it at all. And that would have been, I think, even worse. And yeah, you know, I think about the last phone calls. I think about some of the last phone calls I had with my parents, and you know what? I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. I wish I had a nicer. I mean, I wish I had have done some things differently, but I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. There, with the grief and I don't think anybody ever goes unscathed from the guilt of wishing that they had done more with the people who have passed. Maybe I'm wrong. You can let me know. But I think everybody shares that emotion. You know, I think everybody who has somebody that they've loved and lost wishes that they had spent more time with them, wishes that they had done things differently, wishes that they had done this, and wishes they had done that. And that is a very dangerous road to walk down because that can turn into some very ugly feelings that you're going to be carrying around for a long time. My closest cousin just passed away and she left her 5 kids, and it's hard because they all look like her. And it's sad because I miss her. I wish I could spend more time. That is, yeah. But you got to just, when you see her children, just realize that those are little mini hers. Like my niece. My niece is the closest thing to my sister that I have. My niece is not my sister, but I'm telling you right now, that's the closest thing to my sister that I have. So every time I speak to my niece, I feel just a little bit closer to my sister because she's a little mini of her. So that's the way I look at it. Nick says, I've pushed away my feelings on my dad since he left my mom without telling her to see my grandma. She passed away from Alzheimer's. It's hard. It is. I blame myself. Nope. You know what? Again, guilt, as far as I'm concerned, because y'all know that, and I'm going to touch on this really carefully about guilt. Guilt is an ugly fucking emotion that does no good for anybody. All right? Guilt is what kept me in an addictive state for decades. And guilt does not serve any good purpose. I double dog dare you to think of one thing that has come that has I double dog dare you to think of one good thing that has come out of feeling guilty. You can take that guilt and you can turn it into motivation, and motivation is beautiful. You can take that guilt and you can say, I'm going to do this differently, and that's beautiful. But nothing beautiful comes out of guilt. Guilt is an ugly fucking pile of goo that you choose to carry around with you. You need to take that goo and you need to throw it away and only take positivity from life lessons, because I'm telling you right now, guilt is the bane of a lot of people's existence. And I'm very passionate about that because it wasn't until I figured out that guilt was what guilt was doing to my soul that I decided to let it go, and that is when I got sober. You know, that is, yeah, I used it to do better in the future, but you can't, Todd, and I agree completely, but the guilt isn't motivating. There is no motivating factor that comes out of guilt. I'm going to tell you that right now. My mom told me whenever I was fighting with my brother, is 5 seconds of release worth a lifetime of peace? Yeah, you know what, and that's just it. And there are times where, like I said, we all could have done things differently. You know what? If there was a reset button on life, I guarantee you, and yeah, you're letting guilt and anyone else's involved go. I agree. And you have to. Because, excuse me, there's not a person on this earth that would not give their left nut for a reset button. And we just don't have them. You know what? And here's the thing about is, Cool Girl says, I lost my grandparents and I have a hard time with it. Makes me really sad. Well, being sad is a very natural emotion. It's okay to be sad. I can't imagine anybody losing any loved ones and not feeling sad. And here's the thing is, everybody, sometimes I think the worst thing we ever do to ourselves is trying to not feel the feelings that we're feeling. Okay? It's like we lose somebody we love and we try not to be sad. No, be fucking sad. It's sad. Losing somebody you love is a sad thing, and you have to be okay with it, and you have to embrace it, and you have to let yourself heal from that. But in a society full of, like, we're all supposed to be perfect, being sad is something that we think is bad, but it's not. I'm fucking horribly sad that my mother is dead. I am even more sad that my sister is dead. I'm sad that my father is dead. I'm sad over these things, but I just don't let that sadness overcome me. And that is where, and thank you for the subscription, Lucas. I appreciate you. And that's where the difference is. So it's okay to be sad. Some days I wake up and I'm like, fuck, I miss them. But I still have to go forward. And some days I'm like, yeah, today I'm good. So understanding that the emotions you feel are absolutely perfectly fine, I think is a good gift you can give yourself. That's just it. I'm learning how to let the guilt go. It ain't easy. I'm going to tell you that much. I mean, we live with guilt our entire life, and having that mindset of I'm no longer going to live with that guilt takes a lot of work, but it's work that is well, it's a work that is well needed. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, South says you can sit in your feelings for a minute, but don't stay there. Exactly. And you know what? I always like to try to give I like to try to give my feelings, a, like my negative feelings, a physical form, if that makes any sense. Okay? Like if I'm sad, I consider it like a friend coming over that I don't really like. You'd be like, hey, yeah, you're here, but now you need to, how is the coffee? It's good. You're here, but now you need to go. So you can visit with it, but don't let them stay. Exactly, South. I still see my grandma in my dreams, and they feel so very real. I am going to tell you right now, I am a firm believer, and I will not ever let anybody dissuade me of this, but I personally think that our loved ones visit us in our dreams. And I say that because I have had full on conversations that are relatable to what is going on in my life in my dreams. So I 100% agree with that. 100%. And it is the most beautiful thing. And how could I say they're gone when they come and visit me? You know? And that's just it. Yeah. 100%. I'm still waiting to see my mom in my dreams. I see her. I can never reach her. It's horrible. I'm still waiting. Now, you see her. Okay, you see her, but you can't reach her. Let me think about that for a minute, Peach. Sweet Purple says, I'm 22 and my grandpa passed away when I was 6, and he was like my father to me. And there are a lot of things that he did, and he always made sure we always had everything and was always there for us. But I had so much little time with him and couldn't experience time with him. My older siblings had more time with him, more than me, and I'm the younger sibling. But like you said, Lonnie, they are always with us in mysterious ways, even when they aren't here with anyone anymore physically. Yeah, Sweet Purple, I totally get that. I lost my grandfather, the only grandfather I had when I was that age, and I always remember him giving me a nickel. I have very few memories of him, but my mom always had these most amazing stories about him. So I always felt like he lived in her stories. So if your parents have any stories about your grandfather, maybe they can share them with you and you can write them down. And that's another thing, as I would like to say, and I'm kind of deviating on this. Sometimes I think there's a lot of healing in writing letters to the people who we have lost, because I think there's a lot of significance in I think there's a lot of significance in putting pen to paper, or putting or writing it on a tablet or however you do it. But I think writing letters, if you miss like a daily conversation with your loved ones, write down what you would want to tell them. Keep a little journal of everything that you want to tell your loved one, of everything that you're doing in your life. And I think that that's a really cool way to keep that communication going. Now, Peach, I'm really chewing on this one because you see your mom. You know what? I mean, you see her, so she's there. So I'm trying to understand you why you I mean, are you trying to physically touch your mom, or are you not liking that you just see her? That's just what I'm trying to figure out. My grandfather always made a special salad, and nobody knew the recipe after oh, your grandma. After she passed, I suddenly knew all the ingredients. I love that. And oh, Nikki says I got pregnant not too long after my grandma passed away, so I think it was a gift from her. I gave my daughter my grandmother's middle name. She was my blessing. I absolutely love that. And you see, and here's the thing: it's like what a beautiful living memorial. I mean, they are still. I think what it is that we really need to figure out that what we are mourning is our the physical presence of our loved ones. We're not, I mean, they're still all very actively in our lives, all right? But we just don't get to see them. So I think what we really need to do is we really just need to figure out that, yes, I am mourning the fact that I don't get to see my mom anymore, but my mother is far from dead. Because I'm going to tell you right now, my mom and I did something on a Saturday. Every Saturday, my mom and I went and did something from when I was a child till she passed away. And my mother's favorite thing is I would come and pick her up, and I would look at her and I'd be like, "Are you ready for an adventure, Mr. Baggins?" And she would look at me, she'd be like, "I'm ready, Sam," because her favorite, oh my God, I'm going to cry. Her favorite book was The Hobbit. So every Saturday, I would say that. Every Saturday, she would say the same thing back. And if you don't think that I don't say that out loud every time I'm pulling out of my garage, you are crazy. So she's still alive, you know? So that's all I look at it. Okay. I feel like in our dreams, when we see your loved one, I feel like in our dreams, when we see your loved one, it only happens till they know that you're ready to have what happened, and only let experience what you can handle when you're in that moment. Speaking of the dreams, I have these funeral dreams before someone passes in my family, and it scares me, but I take it as a gift. Oh yeah, no, that's a very big gift. She is in the distance in a crowd. I go to her and can't get to her before I wake. Okay, so let me ask you this, Peach. Do you think you're purposely waking up? I mean, that's kind of like, it's kind of a heavy question, but I mean, I don't know, honey. But I will share this with you. And I will share this with you. How can I put this? This is very emotional for me, but I'm going to share a dream that I had with you, Peach, about my sister. Okay, because I think that this is probably the most that correlates with what you're feeling. But my sister, I dreamt about her a whole lot when she first passed away. And then my dad passed away. And then I had dreams of her and my dad together coming and talking to me about things that were going on in my life. The last dream that I had of my sister, it was me in a room, and I saw my sister in another room. All right. She was not in the same room, and my dad was in the room with me. All right. And I looked at my sister in the other room, and she was dancing, and she had on this long dress with flowers on it, like big old sunflowers and daisies, and she was twirling around and dancing. And I looked at my dad, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, she's finally free. She is finally, all of her burdens, all of her pain, all of her suffering were finally gone. And she was dancing. Oh my gosh. And she was just dancing. And here's the thing. My sister had led such a difficult life that I don't dream about her anymore because I don't want to burden her anymore. All right? She doesn't need to take care of me anymore. Okay? She just doesn't need to be burdened with my burdens anymore. I want her to be free. And if I need her, if I need her, I'll call her, she'll show up, But my sister's journey is that she gets to finally dance and be free, and I'm not going to take that away from her. And I will, again, these things that I say, I will believe until the day I die that that's how it is, you know? And it just, that's just how it is. So maybe your mom isn't ready to talk to you yet, or maybe you're not ready to talk to her. I don't know, Peach, why you keep waking up, but I would maybe journal about it. And but don't journal about like what you saw, journal about what you felt the moment you wake up. You know, do you feel, is it, where was your mom was your mom looking happy? Was your mom looking distressed? Was your mom talking to somebody? If she was talking to somebody, who was she talking to? If you're with a crowd of people, who, where was this crowd at? Start when you're in that dream, start paying more attention to the surroundings of what's going on, and not necessarily just that you're in a panic to try to get to your mom. It's her message to you to let you know that she's free. Exactly. I always believe that when we dream of loved ones that have passed, it's their way of sending messages to you, if that makes sense. Absolutely, Victoria. Absolutely, it makes sense. So anyway, those are just some examples of things that I have been through. But again, I think the biggest thing and that I really want to talk about, and the thing that I want to share most, is that oh, Mag, I really like that. Mags says, sometimes I set an intention before bed. I ask my mom out loud to visit me in my dreams, but only when I'm emotionally ready for one of that, ready for one that makes sense. Exact, you know what? And that's a really cool way. And Peach, I would actually start writing down, like, what would you ask your mom if you saw her? What would you say? How would you feel? I would start this journey in your waking life, and then let it go over to your dreaming life, if that helps. But I guess the biggest thing I want is we all share in common the simple fact that we are missing our loved ones. We all share that in common. We all share the grief. We all share guilt. We all share remorse. We all share these feelings. But I really just hope that we can come together, and we can also share um, positivity, and we can share love, and we can share you know, the camaraderie of having gone through these things. Now, one thing I am going to say that really pisses me off, and I will never do this, and I will never allow this to be done, is I will never allow anybody to shame somebody for their grief. And by that, I mean, sometimes people will be like, yeah, you know what? My mother just passed away, and I'm feeling like this. And then somebody can come up and be like, well, I knew this one person, or my third cousin on my mother's side just passed away, and I feel like this. And sometimes when we're in grief, we're like, well, I hurt more than you. My pain is more than yours. Or you don't understand what I'm going through because I just lost this person. And what I'm asking for is the compassion to just understand that no matter who you lost, pain is pain, loss is loss. So I will never be like, if I'm talking, I will never be like, that was just that person, you haven't lost your sister, your dad, and your mom. I don't like that. And it does happen. And sometimes I think we don't talk as freely because we're afraid that people are going to diminish, or not diminish, but minimize your pain. And that won't happen. So just so you know, it just won't happen on my watch. Everybody has valid feelings, and that's just the way it is. My girlfriend, when we first got together, used to have dreams of my brother. He passed away a year. Oh, wow. Everyone is grieving in their own way. Exactly, sweet. Hello, Jojo. How are you? I'm not gaming today. No, this is Coffee with Lonni. I'm having coffee and we're talking. Yeah, it's not a competition. It's not a, we're not going to one up each other. We're not here to share stories of, we're not here of sharing stories of my loss is bigger than yours. Yeah, I decided to pick a fun cup today. And this one says, rolling with my nomies because you all are my nomies. Miss Jewel says, I went no contact with my mom and I feel the biggest guilt because I should be grateful she is still alive, but she has hurt me so much to a point where I feel better when she's not in my life. But my father and my brother do not support my decision, and I think I should just deal with who my mother is. Ooh, Miss Jules. That's a heavy one, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about this. If you have to go no contact with your mother because that is in your best mental health, then you need to go no contact with your mother because it's in your best mental health. Just the way it is. At one point in life, we need to value our own happiness and our own existence over the existence of others. It sucks, and I am sorry. I would never wish that upon anybody. But I'm telling you right now, your mental health is not negotiable. And if you have a family member who is not, if you have a family member who is hurting that, you have every right to say, I no longer can be in your presence. It's just the way it is. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Emily says, unfortunately, I've lost a lot of loved ones and friends, but last August, I lost a friend to freaking cancer. I knew her for nearly 36 years. I can't get over the pain of losing her. She was the kindest soul ever, and it's just not fair. I'm so angry. She was literally an angel on earth. Yeah, fucking cancer sucks. I'm going to tell you that right now, honey, and I totally get that. And also, too, I lost my sister to cancer in 2 months. So yeah, if cancer were here, I would fucking beat it up. And it sucks, and it's indiscriminate, and it doesn't care who it takes. And you have very valid feelings, sweetheart. And I would start journaling everything you feel you need to start writing down. You need to start writing that stuff down, and you need to start getting it out. And you just need to realize at one point, once you get all that anger out, you're going to go forward and you're going to live a beautiful life for both of you. You have a responsibility, and your responsibility is to laugh because she can't. You have to cry because she can't. You have to feel because she can't, and then try to find that as motivation for going forward. Um, Yeah, you know what, Miss Jules, you say it sucks because I miss having a mother so much, but she was hardly a mother to me. Yeah, it again, sweetheart, it is so. Like I said, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, and it is something that I 100%. I am so sorry. How can I put this in the most way? You almost have to look like you lost your mother to your mother, just no contact. And I'm going to just say something, and I see a couple of comments I want to respond to, but I look at it this way, Jules. I look at it this way. I was an addict when my kids were younger. All right, I drank, I smoked, I gambled, and I was the most horrible, horrific mother to my children ever. All right, my children were on the road to going no contact, and as they should have been. That is exactly what they needed to do. My children needed to take my shit and go away, because every time I opened up a beer, I hurt my children. Every time I went to the casino, I hurt my children. Every time I yelled at them drunk, I hurt my children. All right? So I would have been fucking pissed if they had not have gone no contact, because I was doing nothing but hurting my children. Now, I'm the mother in this situation, okay? It was my responsibility to get sober. It was my responsibility to fix that relationship. It was my responsibility to spend the next decade rebuilding a foundation of what a mother should be to my children. So this is not on you. This is on your mother. If you're no contact with your mother because your mother is not there for you, then it is your mother's responsibility to fucking fix that, not yours. And I am so sorry that your mother isn't there for you, but you have to do what is best for you. And you have to let that guilt go. And you can mourn the loss of you not having a mother, but it is on her to fix your relationship. It is not your job. There, I said that one. My brother just passed from brain cancer, and my mom was luckily survived brain cancer twice now. It has, oh yeah, losing your child is like, I couldn't even imagine. I have not lost a child, but I've watched my children, or I've watched my mother and my dad lose my sister, so I couldn't even imagine that. I couldn't even imagine that. Miss Jewel says, I admire you so much for that, and thank you for saying that. Her reaction has been very different. She has had all the help she's needed, but refused it and won't take accountability, so then I won't contact her. Yeah. You know what? And that's just the thing, y'all, is like, I would, once sober, I would do anything to get my children back. And so, it's just the no contact. I don't have the only experience I have with no contact is the simple fact that I was that person that my children were having no contact with. But it's like, I understand it, and I think that they were more, I have respect for them more, like being like, you're not healthy and I'm not going to have anything to do with you, than if they had have been like, just like, we're just going to let mom hurt us. I haven't spoken to my older sister in 2 years. I'm waiting for the big sister to act like the big sister. I've always had to be the bigger person. I had to stop to protect myself. Miss her every day until she puts work into therapy or anything like that I've been doing. I just can't let her in. That's a tough way. I mean, it sucks. I mean, and it does suck. It sucks. Yes. And you know what? And I personally think it's almost harder to go no contact with somebody who's still alive than to actually physically lose them. I mean, if you lose somebody, it's cut and dry. There's no gray area. But if you're going no contact with somebody, there's that really gray, muddy area of like, well, maybe I should. You have an option to get that contact back, but you always have to think about it as, is that what's best for you? And yeah, sometimes we have to show them how it should be done, I guess. And here's the thing, everybody, is, I mean, you have to think about your first. I lost my sister, so I don't have the option to like go to do it again. But, I don't know. I do not have an unbiased opinion on that one. So I'm not going to say anything because at this point, like I said, I would pretty much do anything to have a conversation with my sister. But I also too have to respect what I just said about having boundaries. So there you go. I'm not gonna waver on that one. I do apologize. My spelling isn't best. I'm heavily dyslexic. Oh, that's okay. Nope. Nobody ever has to apologize. I cannot pronounce a whole lot of words, and I'm okay with that. So you never have to apologize for not being perfect. How's that? This is the one spot where you just don't have to be perfect, and you can actually celebrate the simple fact that you're not perfect, y'all. I absolutely love that. So I do want to just go ahead, and I do want you all to walk away with, I don't know, with maybe just a little bit of a lighter, maybe having a little bit of a lighter load to carry. I don't want it to be where, wounds have been opened or fresh, or you walk away feeling heavy. I do really hope I really do hope that this has helped you understand that. I think again that if you stop and look at it, we're mourning the loss of their physical presence, and I hope you do realize that we still do have them in our lives, you know. And if you are going no contact with somebody, I think that it's the same thing for you. You can mourn the fact that you no longer physically have them in your life, but I do hope that there is some positive thing that you can hold on to and remember them by that. And so then that way it's not just always, something, um, you're not constantly living with pain. I guess that's the way I should say it. Can I ask something? Um, can I ask something? What is the best or favorite quote you have, which is really good in positivity? Um, I do have for positivity, I have some favorite quotes. I don't know. One of them is my sister always used to say, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. And I always think that because sometimes, like, if I'm like, like for example, my platform, I work on my platform from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed. And I sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, gosh, I'm tired. I can't go, I just want to rest. I just want to have a day off. And I'm always like, careful what you ask for because you just might get it. I've wanted this huge, I wanted this platform and I got it. And now I need to be thankful for it instead of being like, I have to do this. So I love that one. I love a quote from Jurassic Park where it says, to a cat, no, to a mouse, a cat is a monster. And that is where it is, where you have to look at it, you have to put everything into perspective. And sometimes we lose our positivity and we look at things like they're ginormous when they're actually only this big. So really just take a hard look at these things, that these obstacles that are stopping you, or these things that you think are absolutely just life stopping, and just put it into perspective. I mean, is it really that big and is it really that bad? And then the last one is life is movement. You have to keep going forward. And I think that that most relates to our conversation today because life is movement. Life, and here's the thing, and I think the thing is, the thing when I first lost my sister was my first major loss in my life. I thought the world was going to stop. I thought my world stopped in that moment. In that instant, my world screeched to a stop. And I'm looking around and I'm like, everybody else is going forward. Everybody else has movement. And I stopped. And I realized I had to move also. Same thing with my dad. It's like, why is life going forward? Everybody's going about their daily life like nothing has happened. And yet my life has just stopped. And then the same thing with my mom. I'm like, how can you worry about getting off work in time to get to the dry cleaner to pick up a skirt when my mom just fucking passed away? But life is about movement. And if we stop when we lose somebody, then we basically die also. So you have to remember life is about movement and you have to keep going. And no matter how hard it is, you have to keep going. That was the thing when we lost my mom, my sister, and I said to each other, how does the world keep going when everything just fell apart? Exactly. And another thing I want to leave you with is the perspective of me as a person. Every time I lost somebody I loved, I became a new person, if this makes any sense. I was a different person after my sister passed away. After my sister passed away, we were so incredibly close. I mean, like, I relied on her. She was like my other half. And then when I lost that other half, I'm like, you know, who am I? I had to relearn who I was after my sister passed away. You know, after my dad passed away, I was the sole caregiver of my mother, and I was a different person. And then after my mother passed away, I became the matriarch of my family. And I'm like, I have all this responsibility now. I was a different person. I'm still fundamentally the same Lonni, but I'm a different version. So I think sometimes we spend so much time trying to recreate who we were when our loved ones were around that we don't give the new version of us time to flourish. So figure out, we are like butterflies, and every time something happens, um, we have to molt into this new butterfly. So maybe take this is and try to, like, your homework for today is maybe just try to see who you were to who you are now, and find all the beautiful things that have you've become in that time. And I mean, I'm a stronger person today. I'm braver today. I don't think I could have done this 10 years ago. But now I take the tenacity of my mother. I take the wisdom of my father, and I take the absolute I'm going to take no shit from anybody attitude of my sister. I combine them all, and this is the version of me that is here before you today. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when those little fucking trolls come in and they try to get me, I flick them away like a little fly, because I have three of the most amazing people standing behind me, and they're giving me the motivation to go forward. Not those little fuckers who come on here and try to absolutely take anything away from me. So just remember, you have these people on your shoulder, and um, you have these people giving you their strength, and that is what you do. So flick those little fuckers away and take the strength of those who you've lost, and that's what you need to do to go forward. And that's the kind of positivity um, that's the kind of positivity that I want to leave you with. I want to leave you with a sense of empowerment, not a sense of mourning. I want to leave you with a sense of, yeah, you know what? I no longer have to wait for my mom to come visit, because my mom is with me every moment of the day. I don't have to wait for somebody to pick up the phone and call me, because they're with me every single moment of every single day. And my loved ones are with me every single moment of every single day. Period. Stamp. And that's it. Tabitha says, I was angry at God for taking her from everyone, because we loved her so much and we couldn't understand why she had to die at 19. I still miss her every day. Absolutely. But Tabitha, I don't know if you were here when I said it. You miss her physical form every day, but she is still with you, my friend. You know, your best friend is still your best friend, and your best friend is still with you. It's just not her physical form. And so just like, it sucks. It sucks that their physical form isn't here, but we're going to take that. And again, like I said, every time I'm streaming, every time I have to do something I don't want to do, every time I have to dig deep to find that motivation, I know that they are there. So cheers to my beautiful mother, I who lives in, I mean, my mother was in the hospital. And I'm going to tell you this. My mother was in the hospital, and I knew she was not going to leave the hospital. Now, my mother was dying. The insurance company was trying to kick her out of the hospital. My mother did not want to leave the hospital. So I, being me, was like, Bring it on, motherfuckers, because you're not going to do what my mother doesn't want you to not do. All right. My mom did not want to die at home. She didn't want to die at home. She wanted to die exactly where she was. She didn't want to die in a home. She didn't want that. So the insurance company is like, your mom has to leave. I'm like, fuck you. My mom's not leaving. I don't care how much I owe. My mother is staying exactly where my mother wants to be. So I'm sitting here fighting with the insurance company, and it got so bad that the insurance company sent a representative from the insurance company to confront me in the hospital. Now, you have to understand, when I am angry, when I am faced with this, I am a fucking hard ass. So I absolutely went toe to toe with this person. And I will tell you what, I had gotten it to the point where the nurses were were on standby to move my mom to different rooms. So then that way they couldn't find her. That's what I had done. So anyway, so my mom is sitting there. I'm fighting with the insurance company. I'm dealing with this. And my mother looks at me and opens one eye, and she looks at me and she's like, you know, I'm going to haunt you, right? And I'm like, yeah, you're going to fucking haunt me. I would be sad if you didn't. She's like, okay, just making sure. And I swear to you, my mother lives in me, because sometimes the shit that comes out of my mouth, I'm like, I wouldn't have said that. My mother would. Robert and Brandon will be like, hey, Barbu, because that's what they used to call her. And I'm like, why did I just fucking say that? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's my mom living in me, coming out of my mouth every once in a while. And I'm just like, oh yeah, so you think my mom's gone? My mom's not gone. She's just rattling around in my head. And every once in a while she pops out and she says the most inappropriate shit. And I'm like, I'm so mortified that I just said that. I apologize. I never talk like that. And my mom's like, but I do. So that is how I go forward, because you know what? It again, each of my loved ones that I have lost have such a unique spirit about them that I can see them all living in me. I do want to read Kaylee's. It says that it's to do all the things even if you don't want to, because our loved ones aren't here and would probably love to be here to do the things we don't want. Exactly, Kay. You know, and I agree. And so again, the way I look at it, y'all, is I don't live just for myself, but I live for them. I live for my mom. I live for my sister. I live for my dad. So when I get up here and, you know, I do these things and, you know, I spread some positivity, I do it because I want to do it for them too. So with that, I would like to give you all just the most amazing, warm Lonni hug possible. I would hope you all know that I love you all dearly and we share a very common ground of grief. But I also want to share that very beautiful ground of surviving and thriving and positivity, and just knowing that your loved ones are there with you. And, you know, and if, yeah, no, yeah, today's totally helped me, you know. I think my mother would really, really, really have appreciated the fact that we just spent the last hour and 8 minutes talking about how amazing she was. So yeah, my mother also too got me into a lot of fights. So, oh yeah, Jenny, I always have huge cups. Yeah, no, I'm going to leave you with a parting story of my mother. It was in the 80s, and the San Diego Padres were playing the Chicago Cubs, and my mother had a couple of beers. And when I say a couple of beers, I mean a few beers. And we were in the bathroom, and my mother was smaller than me, decides to pick a fight with two of the largest Chicago Cub women I have ever seen in my life. All right? They were massive. And my mother gets into a fucking fight with them, steps aside, and goes, well, my daughter will fight you. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I had to basically fucking fight my way out of the bathroom with my mother. And you know what? That's just the way it is. And so, yeah, that is part of the amazingness that makes me who I am today. The simple fact that I could fight my way out of a bathroom in the 80s with my drunk mother. And again, there are just so many different layers to who I am, and that just happens to be one of them. So, and that was not the first fight that she got me into, nor the last one. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, my mama went hard because she knew that she had me and my sister behind her, and nobody fucked with our mom. So, um, yeah. So if we ever come across Chicago fans, I know. Yeah, I can. You know what? I will get Elizabeth. I will get us out of the bathroom. It doesn't matter if I'm 60. I will get our asses out of the bathroom. So anyway, I wanted to leave you with a fun story, and I just want to tell you all how much I absolutely love you. I'll be back this afternoon on both Twitch and TikTok. We're going to start with Still Wakes the Deep. We're going to go straight into some Granny, and then we're going to do some more Quiet Place. We are going to end tonight with some Disney Dreamlight Valley, but that's what we do have on our agenda for today. Still Wakes the Deep, Granny, Quiet Place, and some Disney. Yeah, you know what? My mother was an absolute fucking hoot, and there was not a person that met my mother that did not love her. She was absolutely had just magic about her. And so, if you think I'm sparkly, Jesus, she was the sparkliest sparkle ever. So, all right, everybody, have a great Saturday. I love you all dearly. We will be back. And again, I sending my hugs, my mother, and I appreciate everything that you do. And so have a great day. Drink water, wear a sweater. I love you all dearly. And yeah. Yeah, you know what, Max? That was exactly it. And if you don't think that I didn't carry one of those, I did. I I was a I would okay, I'm going to leave you with a quick story. Don't go yet. I'm going to leave you with a quick story of who I am as a person. All right? So, in the 80s, now this is a me story. And this is just going to give you this is going to give you a little look into who I am as a person. Okay. In the 80s, me and my best friend me and my best friend had to stay after school because we were constantly in trouble. All right. So we're in trouble. We stayed after school. And then after school, we walked down to the 7-Eleven to sit and wait for her mom to pick us up. Okay. So we're sitting there on the curb by the 7-Eleven, and I look down the street, and here comes a gang of girls. All right. It was the gang of girls that you didn't mess with these girls. All right. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, shit, here comes trouble. I mean, I knew it was coming. I was raised in a manner of you always learn, you had to hold, I was raised in a manner of I was raised very hard. I was raised a very hard life. All right. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, here comes trouble. And sure as shit, the girls came up. We were sitting on the curb and surrounded us. And they're like, give us your money. And they're like, give us your money. And they actually took out a knife and cut the straps off my friend's top. And they're like, and she's like, fuck, here's all my money. So then I'm like, I do the whole like, fuck. I stood up. I found the biggest one. I went straight over to her and I'm like, you'll have to kill me for my money. And I just deadpan stared her in the eyes. Well, like that, because she was so much taller than I am. And she sat there and she stared at me for a little bit. And she's like, leave this one alone. And they turned around and they walked away. And that, my friend, is who I am as a person. So, They didn't get my money. I kept my top in, I kept the straps on my top. And I'm telling you right now, sometimes you just have to stand up. You have to face adversity in the eyes and say, you have to fucking kill me to get it. And that right there is, that's why my mother had me fight the way out of the bathroom in Chicago, or with the Chicago people. And sometimes it's okay to be a badass, and sometimes it's okay. Doesn't matter how big you are. My dad always said, doesn't matter how big you are, they can smell fear. And don't let life smell your fear. And that's the motto of that's the motto I want you to think about today. Don't let life smell your fear. So with that, your mama duck is going to go warm up her coffee. I'm going to go clean the house. And then I think I'm going to watch a scary movie because it is Spooktober. So anybody, love you dearly. I will see you all later on today. And remember, your loved ones are with you, and I absolutely love you all. All right, everybody, peace out. This time I'm really going. Love you all dearly, and I will see you all later on today. Love you guys. Yeah, moral of the story, don't fuck with Mama Duck. That is absolutely, Sarah Lou, a very good moral of this story. All right, everybody, I'll see you later. Love you.